me own eye. Tickets to the Spongebob movie!
Ah, SpongeBob SquarePants, the show that defined every kid born in the late 90s and early 2000s childhood. It's a cultural phenomenon that's been referenced everywhere, and there's a new movie coming out for it. 24 years later since its original creation. The original movie came out in 2004. That's when the show was supposed to stop, but it didn't. It just kept on going. And new SpongeBob, if you've seen it, is genuinely insane. Why does modern SpongeBob just not hit the same? Like, don't get me wrong, the new movie that came out this year is actually pretty good. It's about Plankton. I actually just got done watching the movie and had to grab my mic because it was really good. I mean, it wasn't amazing and it doesn't live up to the original movie at all, but it's got some really good moments in it and it kind of captures the old show in a way. Again, it isn't perfect, but compared to the new episodes and new movies that have come out of the show, I would say it's pretty decent. Though I really do hate the 3D art style they've been using in the recent media for it. I'm just not a fan. I really like the 2D flat sponge look. I'm gonna stop talking so much about the new movie because I'd like to focus more on the old season and the TV show itself. For the old seasons, at least the first 3, we had some really iconic episodes that you would remember even as an adult, like SB129 or whatever it was called. The Rock Bottom episode was a big favorite of mine, and the Van Geeks one was insane. I think that was their first use of using real people in their show. I can't remember if that came first or the hot sauce, where that scary face was in it.
By the powers of naughtiness, I command this particular drop of hot sauce to be really, really hot.
But regardless, it was so funny. These episodes weren't just full of humor, but they were also smart. The humor was layered, and the characters were nuanced, and there was heart. Oh, the heart in this show. You could feel the passion behind every frame, and that has to come from one man. And that man is Stephen Hillenburg.
My name's Steve Hillenburg, and I'm the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Stephen Hillenburg wasn't just a creator, he was a marine biologist. I'm sure everybody knows this, but he had a deep love for the ocean and storytelling, and he really was able to show that through SpongeBob. SpongeBob wasn't just a sponge, he was a kind-hearted, hard-working, and surprisingly smart little guy who just wanted to make the world better, one patty at a time. But now he's stupid.
Good morning, my loyal subjects.
They turned that sweet, little, innocent, full of childhood whimsy guy into a wet sponge that's just stupid. His brain is no longer existent. He makes the dumbest mistakes, says the stupidest things, and does the most insane actions I've ever seen. This sponge used to give me baby fever when I would look at him. Now, in the new season, all I can see is a grown man acting a fool. And it's not just SpongeBob they destroyed the character of. Every single character in this show suffers from this type of writing style where they just turned them brainless. Patrick, for an example, was always stupid, yeah, but he had a big heart and he was SpongeBob's best friend, not to mention the moments where he would accidentally have wisdom, which was really strange to see. SpongeBob could literally be having the worst day of his life, and then Patrick will pull up saying, "Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a present, and that's why we call it a gift." Bro, what are you talking about? You are not supposed to be saying that type of thing. But now, in modern SpongeBob, Patrick's just dumb, and he's a bad friend. And with Squidward, oh my god, they torture that poor man. Squidward used to be a semi-sad man who just hated his job and didn't like his neighbors and had a big passion for music, who was really unlucky. Now, Squidward gets put through the Saddam Hussein hiding hole every single episode he's in. It's as if they light him on fire for no reason other than him just being there. I feel so bad for this squid. Not only in the original seasons was he a little bit mistreated, but in the new ones, there is no happy ending for this man. Everything he goes through is insanely depressing. which is honestly really funny because Squidward is the character that you as an adult are supposed to relate to the most. So I'm just gonna interpret this as the writers really hating anyone who's an adult watching this. And it's not as though it was an immediate and sudden downhill slide for the show. For the next few seasons that came after the movie, it was pretty okay. Some good episodes were sprinkled in season 4, 5, and 6, but it was also combined with some really lackluster ones as well. At that point, I was still pretty young, and I was watching the show religiously, up until maybe season 8. But even as a kid, I would go back to watch the earlier seasons of the show because I did not like the later season episodes that much anymore. It's not like the episodes were really bad, it's just that they weren't funny and there was no plot in them. And as a kid, I recognized that. I liked the slower paced, more steady and light humor episodes where Squidward wasn't being physically abused by the writers. I used to feel so happy watching the older seasons, and it would calm me down so much. And I would watch it going to bed, I would watch it before or after school. I would never turn to the later seasons to watch the show. The plots for the newer seasons are genuinely insane. Episodes used to have simple yet effective premises, like SpongeBob trying to get his driver's license or being in boating school. Now, it's transformed into being random and over the top and just full of nonsense. It's like they're trying too hard to be wacky and that they forgot what made the show work in the first place. Maybe it's just nostalgia speaking. Maybe old SpongeBob wasn't as good as we remember and I'm just being a biased old head. And yeah, I'll admit, nostalgia plays a huge part in why I love SpongeBob so much. We all have fond memories of watching SpongeBob as kids, laughing at the same stupid jokes over and over again. And here's the thing, even if you take nostalgia into account, modern SpongeBob definitely does not hold up to the old one. The old SpongeBob was slow-paced, had some good humor in it, but it had a plot. New SpongeBob has no plot. If I put my kid, who I do not have, up to the TV and I play modern SpongeBob, their brain will rot because of the type of humor in it. It's so absurd. The writing is lazier, the characters are flatter, and the humor is just... it's not as sharp. Episodes are less about the plot and now focusing on keeping the kids' attention span. Jokes are every 30 seconds. Insane scenes are happening every minute. I tried watching an episode of the newer season and it felt like my brain was rotting. It's like comparing a delicious gourmet Krabby Patty to one of those sad, frozen ones you'd microwave at 2 a.m. from Trader Joe's. Sure, it's still a Krabby Patty, but it's missing the special ingredient. And what's that special ingredient? Love, you might say? Hell nah, it's Steven Hillenburg. I'm sorry to bring him up again, I just love that man so much. Hillenburg's passion and vision were what made SpongeBob so special. After he left, the show just lost its way. It became a shell of its former self, relying on cheap gags and shock value instead of genuine storytelling, and it's really, really sad to see. Now, let's talk about the Plankton movie that I brought up before. Honestly, like I said, it's not that bad. It's got some really funny moments in it, and Plankton's chaotic energy carries a lot of it. There's a self-awareness to the movie that feels refreshing compared to the newer episodes of the show. It's like the writers remembered, oh yeah, this is supposed to be fun. A part of the reason I think it's so good is because the voice actor for Plankton helped write the movie. Mr. Lawrence had a major role in writing the new movie, which is why I feel like it captures some of the magic of the original series. He's been there since the beginning. That being said, this movie can't compare to the first 3 seasons of the show or even the first movie. Like I said, it's a great addition to the series, but was it necessary? We've had movies for almost every single side character so far. Sandy Cheeks was literally a movie that came out, last year? Do we really need a Plankton movie as well? Despite it being so good, I feel like it's unnecessary. It's like these showrunners are milking the series out until there's nothing left. SpongeBob is just a mascot. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. SpongeBob's been around for over 20 years now, and it's less of a show and more of an institution. Everybody knows that at this point, and we know it's not going anywhere. And honestly, that's fine. Yes, it's a little sad to see something that was once so special become, well, another brain-rotted baby show, but Nickelodeon has to make its money somehow, and SpongeBob is their best bet to staying in business. Regardless, it's still really sad to witness, and honestly I do genuinely feel bad for kids watching the newer seasons of this show. With TikTok and iPads, their attention spans have already started dying, and it's like the new seasons are trying to cater to that, instead of, trying to help correct the issue. I wish there were more shows out there that would help slow things down for these kids. I'm not talking about treating children like they're stupid, but instead, give episodes with an actual plot to follow. Flashing colors and lights, jokes every 10 seconds, and no room to breathe. Yeah, it keeps the kids' attention, but at what cost? Maybe I'm just a sad 22-year-old woman who has no place talking about this kid's show, and yeah, that would be a very fair point to make. But after a long day of uni classes, sometimes I want to throw something on that makes me feel anything than intense dread for my future, and SpongeBob would be that show. So seeing its downhill decline is not great. Regardless, this is up to opinion. Some people may really like the newer seasons and not find any issue with it. So I could just be making an issue out of nothing. But I know there are a lot of people, especially because of all the video essays out there, that I'm not alone in this opinion. So feel what you feel, think what you think. Regardless, I still don't like what they did to my boy.
My name's Steve Hillenberg, and I'm the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants.